Welcome, fellow adventurers, to our little spot on the internet. Join us as we explore our world.
Follow along as we share our adventures on the roads less traveled.
A truck, a trailer, and we three. Come along. coming up the Grapevine to Fort Tejon. It's a pretty gnarly climb. If you're towing, you want to slow down. Make sure your air conditioner's off. Things like that makes a big difference in how the vehicle performs, especially if you're right at the edge of what your vehicle can tow. Fortunately, our F-250 does really well. The big old diesel motor out front, the 6.7, hardly knows the trailer's on the back, but the big thing that you notice is the mileage goes from about 10 miles a gallon, something like that, to 3.1, climbing hills. But here we are, Grapevine, I-5 south, from Lebec, California to Gorman, and then on down into the San Fernando Valley. And just a side note, if you're coming from Northern California to Southern California, you want to avoid I-5 from Stockton to Bakersfield. You can take 99 south, because right now, I know it's hard to believe, they have cut up the road and moved everything over from the southbound lanes to the northbound lanes, and they cut that road with a grinder or something, and that's the roughest road I've ever been on in my life. And unfortunately, I was towing the trailer, but everything in the trailer and the truck was bounced around so bad that even the big rigs were slowing down to 25, 30 miles an hour, because it was just unbelievable how rough that road was. Whoever designed that, whoever did that, needs to be shot. But again, state of California and the idiots running this state, just a normal thing. I'm born, bred, and raised in California. Lived here my whole life except when I was in the military, and I'm disgusted by the state. Climbing big hills, going up always means there's going to be some big trucks in the slow lane going really slow because they've got a lot of weight on, and yet people want to run up on them and expect them to move. That doesn't usually work out too well. And then what goes up, according to Newton's third law, must come down. And we're just about to hit one of the biggest downhill roads from the Grapevine, headed down into the San Fernando Valley. And usually 9 times out of 10, there's going to be 1 or 2 trucks you're following behind that all you smell is brakes. Their brakes get very hot, and sometimes they lose them, and that's why they have runaway truck ramps on these hills. Ever watch one happen? It's pretty scary. Rocks fly everywhere, and it does a lot of damage to the truck and the trailer. But at least they save their lives and they don't die or kill, more importantly, other people. Trying to figure out what to do with a 80,000-pound truck with no brakes. This is just a little bit of a downhill. Kind of hard to tell what's going on because of the angle of the camera, but it's about a 6 or 7 degree slope, but it doesn't last too long. Then we go right back up for a little bit, and then we have the big long one that takes us down into the place of doom. I crack myself up sometimes. If you're fortunate enough to have a Jake brake or a compression brake or just one of those little brakes that uses your engine to help you slow down, it's definitely a good thing to have. And depending on your weight of your trailer, don't get in a rush, don't get in a hurry, take your time going downhill, use your lower gears. That's what they're there for. You can actually take the truck or the car out of drive and go to another mode, 1 or 2, and get yourself slowed down on big hills, and then let the engine do most of the braking. If you're driving a big truck like most of us are that are towing, I've got 6 gears and I can go through them in the manual mode and set what I want. Plus I also have a compression brake, the Jake brake, to help keep things under control. Oh man, a brand new Corvette sitting on the side of the road. Pay $129,000 for a car, you would expect it not to break down, wouldn't you? I hope he's got great customer service and a dealer to come get his car. He didn't look very happy. This is the last little up before we start the great big huge down. There's the old highway that's to the right of this freeway that you can get on and take a different mode. And then over on the left side is the ancient freeway. Actually, back then it was a 2-lane road that you can explore when you're headed from north to south over the Tehachapi's, over the Grapevine. I always wanted to do the old road, but definitely not towing a trailer. So one of the things to put on the bucket list, I think, is to go see the old north to south highway. I don't even know if it was 99 back then. I think it was just a road, but I'll have to do some research and get back to you. I'll put the comments on the video when I figure it out, and you guys, if you've ever been on it, leave a comment below. Interact with us, help us figure out all the things we should be doing. This channel is going to be fun and off the cuff. You never know what we're going to say, never know what we're going to do. We're just doing it, sharing it with you. Alright, there's the famous brake check area sign in a half mile. When you see those, that's kind of a clue that it's about to get fun going downhill. And most of these truckers with the big rigs will stop. Some of them won't. The smart guys always stop and check, make sure everything's all good before they go downhill. Make sure all their airlines are connected and there's no issues there. But 9 times out of 10, you'll always find one guy that's burning his brakes. We've seen trucks coming down hills in Colorado where the truck actually caught on fire and burned down. We were going through Wyoming and had a truck coming downhill and it was on fire, and the guy wouldn't stop. He just kept driving. I don't know if he didn't know what to do or what, but it was kind of scary. And the fire trucks and the cops were chasing him and he still wouldn't pull over. So here comes the brake check area. You can see there's 4, 5, 6 trucks parked in there, checking their loads, checking their brakes, making sure everything's all tied down and everything's where it needs to be. And if you're ever concerned about your own RV, it's a good time to stop, check, make sure you're good. Make a sandwich, have a Coke. It's not like we're towing our homes behind us. You can see as we're coming down into the valley, look at all that fog. A little early for June gloom. That's actually a thing on the coast in California. In Southern California, they call it June gloom. Not always sunny and bright in California. And now we're crossing the Templin Highway. Maybe that's what it was, the old Templin Highway. But here we go down the hill, and I've got the compression brake on, the quote-unquote Jake brake. Currently still in 6th gear, but I will be slowing down in just a couple of seconds, because once we come around this little corner, one more little up and down, we're going to hit the big part. And the big part, I'll be at 55 or less and letting the compression brake do its job. Also, one of the things you have to be aware of in California is that motorcycles can do what they call center up, which is go down the center lines between lanes. They can't go outside the lanes, but they can go up between the vehicles. And if you're in heavy traffic, you probably want to pull your mirrors in, because they don't care. They'll go right by, break your mirrors off. Seen it numerous times. Even in a car without the expandable or extendable mirrors, they don't care, and they'll run by and you'll never catch them. So if you have the ability like I do on my F-250, I can actually fold them in heavy traffic and just stay in my lane and take my time and be careful, because that's all I can do with the guys on the motorcycles. Okay, so they've changed it. It used to be 6%. Now it says it's 5% for 5 miles. But it's pretty long grade, and it's going downhill. I love my GoPros. The cool part is to slow this big thing down. All I gotta do is put my foot on the brake and tell the computer that I want to slow down, and it'll automatically start shifting down there. I went from 6th to 5th all on just by touching the brake pedal, and it brings the RPMs up a little bit. The compression brake or Jake brake comes on and helps to keep everything in speed and under control. It's really kind of cool for the grade. They actually switched the freeway from one side to the other. So the northbound freeway is actually on my right instead of being on my left. Kind of weird, kind of cool. The big trucks are slowed down to 40 miles an hour. Very few of them actually do that. If you've got a lot of weight, fifth wheel or something along the lines, if you follow the guidelines of the trucks and you do the speeds they're supposed to be doing, you'll be okay. But, you know, these are things you have to find out over time. So first time towers, always be ready to slow down, take your time, don't be in a hurry, especially in Southern California. Those two things do not go well together. Speed and trying to save time in LA doesn't work. There's a tendency down here in Southern California to use an app called Waze, W-A-Z-E, to try to save time and get you off of the roads when there's a lot of traffic. But unfortunately, Waze doesn't have a way to put in your length of your vehicle and or the height of your vehicle like some of the RV apps have and some of the truckers apps have. And so you might be saving some time, or you might be getting yourself into a situation where there's low trees, low wires, short curves. So just be aware, it might be best to stay on the big main roads and just take your time. I think the theme here is take your time in Southern California. Also keep your eyes on your mirrors. You'll see trucks in the slow lane and you'll see a car that's in a hurry to come down, jump through the slow lane and try to cut you off. Also try to develop a judge of speed of the other vehicles around you and try to anticipate what the trucks in the slow lane are going to do. I'm currently in the number 3 lane, I think, because I think they measured from left to right. I could be wrong. For the ex-guys that did their time in law enforcement, or in our current law enforcement guys, thank you very much. And feel free to correct me in the comments below. But I think the number 1 lane is off to my left and the number 4 lane is off to my right. But being aware of where they're at, what they're doing, and where they're going can help you to anticipate slowing down and avoiding sudden stops. Like right now, I've got a white van coming up on the right-hand side in the number 4 lane, and he suddenly figured out that he can't get past the 2 big rigs that are in that lane, and so now he's going to have to get behind me, and then he's going to run by me, and they're always in a hurry. So here we come, Lake Hughes. There's a VOR here for you pilot types. That's what I am. And there's also a lake here, Castaic Lake. I've been here and watched the fire season in Southern California and seen the Canadian water bombers come in and fly right over the dam and set down on the lake and pick up water and then go back out and fight the fires. I think it'd be fun to fly one of those. Maybe somewhere down the line. Alright, well, that's it for getting down off the hill. Coming down off Fort Tejon. From Laval to Lebec to Gorman, all the way down here to Lake Hughes Road and the Castaic Lake. And coming up on our right here in just a couple minutes will be Magic Mountain. Hopefully soon they'll get back to opening and letting people, you know, have a normal life again, instead of giving up all of our liberties and our freedoms. Oh, and hey, there's a fellow ducker. Go Ducks. Oh, look, there's your nice cutoff. See that? He could have went to the left, but he went to the right because, I don't know, he decided that he needed to cut me off. Also be aware there's a lot of debris in the road, and this is where the Waze app actually comes in kind of handy, because it's a peer-based application, and it will tell you if there's, one, police in the area, and two, if there's things in the road, potholes, obstructions on the road, vehicles that are stopped or broken down. They all come up on Waze as well. So if you don't have it on your phone, you might want to put it on your phone. W-A-Z-E, not affiliated, but it's been downloaded more than a billion times, and it's peer-based, so you get to interact with the app and help people down the road. So, something to consider. There's Magic Mountain, just as advertised. Just off to the right, you can see all the towers for Superman and the big rotating platform and all the roller coasters at Magic Mountain. Can't talk today. Oh my goodness, there's rain on the windshield. That helped a lot. A little cleaner might help out there. If you watch some of our last videos, we've had the crack in the windshield a while, and we're trying to get an OEM replacement, but apparently getting an OEM replacement from Ford shipped to the dealer and having it installed is quite problematic, because apparently they have issues with the windows getting broken in transit. Don't know if it's a UPS thing or FedEx or LTLs, however it's getting there, but apparently it's a huge thing. And I've been told that the other aftermarket manufactured windows are not the same, and so we want to be as safe as possible and keep our OEM window in there. And fortunately, our insurance company that covers both our trailer and our truck and everything else we own is okay with it. I think it's a $50 deductible that we have to pay for the OEM windshield. Not too bad. More slow traffic, and sometimes it's not always the big rigs. There's a Oregon truck that's loaded down and about ready to come apart, it looks like. Hopefully they don't have that problem. In the past, we've literally flown into the Van Nuys Airport and come down here to the Lions exit, gotten a hotel room, spent the entire day at Magic Mountain, closed the park, went back to the airport, got in the airplane, and flew back to Northern California. And learning to fly and flying airplanes, private airplanes, general aviation airplanes, will truly change your life. How you see your life, what you think you can do, and how quickly you can do it. From being a certified flight instructor and an airline transport pilot, it's a great way to go out, take a ride, and see if you like it. Everyone's always afraid of heights, they say. But the funny thing about it is most people can't stand on top of an 8-foot ladder. But you don't feel that way when you're flying an airplane. It's like driving a car, just with a lot better view. A lot better view. We're coming up to the last little bit of a drop. And here is a little shortcut if the traffic gets really bad, and it does down here sometimes, coming right through here down into the 405 split. This Cowgrove Boulevard to the right is actually the old freeway before they put in all the new overpasses. And if the traffic stopped, you could get off here at Cal Grove and go all the way down and make your way down to the lower part where the 210, the 405, and the 5 still all head south before they split up, and you can save some time. And it's big open road, so it's actually okay for big rigs and those of us that are towing. So if you're towing a fifth wheel or you're driving a Class A down to a Super C, if the traffic stopped and Waze is talking about getting off, Cal Grove is always a good way to get around all of that traffic. But just know, there's a lot of other people out there that have Waze too that'll be joining you. But at least it'll probably be moving versus not. Just unfortunately went by a guy towing a sandpiper, and he was broken down. I stopped on the side of the road to see if I could help him, and I got water and I got oil, but I can't do anything about his transmission. His automatic transmission had taken a break from reality, went south on him. So, but merging back on the freeway in Southern California was not as bad as I had anticipated. But traffic's light right now because it's almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time. I probably wouldn't have done that around 5 or 6 o'clock because the traffic would have been crazy, and I'm obviously in the middle of the morning too. Not a good place to be. On the way down south, if you're towing, they actually have a truck lane here that comes down. It's a little bit of a different turn, and it will take you down without having to use as much brakes. But I have a tendency not to use it, especially when there's big trucks slowing way down in the middle of it. Just be careful of the 14 exit. I almost missed it by getting over. And you'll always have cars speeding down, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm in the wrong lane, and they'll just cut right over in front of you. It's actually cold outside today. 58 degrees right now at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is unusual for this time of year in Southern California. So I guess June gloom is doing its job. There goes LAPD on their motorcycles. We entered Los Angeles County about 20 miles ago. If you're coming to Southern California, they have a thing called a fast track pass, which will get you into some of the toll roads in Southern California. That'll save you some time. And if the traffic gets bad, usually the toll roads are just as bad as all the other lanes. So now I have to make a decision to head south to San Diego, whether I want to go the 405, which is the shortest route. I missed the 210, which is the long route through the backside, or just stay on I-5 south. And we haven't been to Disneyland for over a year, so I'm going to stay on I-5 south just so I can go by and wave at it. This is the 21st of April, and they're scheduled to open April 30th. But with severely limited capacity, and apparently they're not going to have a lot of the attractions open because of the pandemic. Here comes the big 405 and 5 split. And we're going to stay on 5. I'll probably regret that, but for now, I just want to go see Disneyland. I could stay on the 405 and cut across and come back over on the 610 and the 710. I don't remember LA that much. I haven't been down here in a year. As huge Disney freaks in our family, I know just about every shortcut. Usually, but when you don't do things a lot, you kind of tend to not remember exactly where they're at. Ooh, there's the long bed version of the new Ford Platinum Super Duty. The 2021, I think, has 10 forward speeds attached to that 6.7. That would be interesting and fun to see. Anyway, I'm going to quit talking, and you can tell I'm obviously by myself and bored to tears. So I'm going to quit talking and focus on driving through LA. Born in East LA. Nope, Alameda, California. Ha! And here you can see it slowed down. I'm not even to the 110 yet. Up on the right hand is the hills where the observatory and all that fun stuff is. But traffic just comes to a screeching whoa. And I literally had my turn signal on to move to the left. And the woman was probably a half mile behind me, and she just kept coming, paid no attention, and just drove right through. So I just had to sit and wait and slowly move over when it all starts moving over again. They're either on their phone, painting their fingernails, doing their hair. I watched a guy once down here who was busy trying to, I guess, dye his mustache while he was driving. It is California. I've seen people reading books while driving, and not in a Tesla. So just be aware, it gets scary down here. And once again, it's just about taking your time, and don't assume that they're going to do what they think they do, because it doesn't work. Here's the old airport on the right hand side where Lockheed used to be, and there's a P-38 on top, a P-80 Shooting Star, the very famous Lockheed Constellation, and the last one at the end of the sign is the SR-71. Now it's just a big mall. I think they saved the tower part of it, but LA used to have something around 60 airports in the LA San Fernando Valley Basin, and now I think there's 7, maybe 8. The price of progress. Miles of freeway or a mile of airport. One is expensive and takes you only as far as the road goes. The other one gets you airborne and takes you anywhere you need to go. So try to help preserve our airports. As you can see, the dump truck in front of me has a load, and it's not covered. The law says that all loads in California must be covered, but they never do. And so you'll get rocks and sand and all kinds of stuff down on your vehicle. So just be aware of the fact that you don't want to follow too close to the dump trucks around here, because you will end up with all kinds of damage to your vehicle. In fact, that's how we got our rock chip in our window down here, rock truck. And they don't care. They won't stop. You call the company and they said, well, you were following too close. Not our responsibility. So just be aware, it's a thing in Southern California. I want to travel in the furthest lane to the right in Southern California where the merging goes on. But if you're in the other lane, be aware that you'll actually have cars cut you off to get over and make the transition from one side to the other. And just be prepared for the fact that they are going to do it. I just had a Mercedes cut me off as square as possible so they could make the 134 exit. So, and lots of brake lights coming on now. So here comes the creep and the crawl. A lot of stages to the left down here where movies are made in Southern California. Apparently they're not made in Georgia anymore. And the Griffith Park and Observatory stuff is off to my right. There's a golf course over here and all kinds of fun stuff. But I'm just going to leave the camera on for a little bit, and we'll see how many people actually cut me off with a distance of a car between me and the other car. Oh, hey! Here we go, Mr. Frontier. Jump right in there, because he's got to get all the way over to the left so he can go faster than the rest of us for 3 miles an hour. And as good stewards of the RV community, I know that every time we plug in and check our trailer, we check our lights. Right, people? And that's not a thing around here. You'll find people driving with one light out, two lights out, the third light in the middle out because one of the other lights is out, headlights out. They just don't take the time. And law enforcement down here doesn't enforce it at all unless they absolutely have to. So please stop, check, make sure your lights work. I just had a Nissan in front of me, and now I have a Colorado LS in front of me with camper shell, and half his third light works, his right light works, and the left light is out. Left light is out. Say that 3 times fast. 10 times fast. But you'll speed up, you'll go a little bit faster, and then suddenly it starts slowing down again. It's just driving in LA, and so just watch this video. It's kind of scary. It might be boring, so hope you stay with me, but if not, you can fast forward to the video. This is just going down I-5 towards the 110, and literally all this traffic is because of a cross freeway that goes from the east to the west, and people have not yet figured out how to anticipate that they need to get off the road, and they'll go from the fast lane all the way to the slow lane to merge, and people have to slam on their brakes, and just a small section of brake lights causes miles and miles and miles of backup in LA. I remember watching a video from Disney Productions where Goofy was driving, and they were trying to convince people not to hit their brakes because of the impact it had. And that movie was made in the 40s, so you can only imagine that the traffic in LA has gotten nothing but worse. How fun! The Nissan and the Colorado have opposing lights out, so between the two of them, when they hit the lights, it looks like they're both stopping. I gotta go because I'm getting too cynical being down here. Not cynical, just smart ass. We're coming up to the 2, and then after the 2 comes the 110. The traffic's pretty bad. The lane ends right here, and everybody's trying to get over. And I'm going to move over to the left a little bit and continue on, but you'll watch how many people just try to cut you off in this process. It's just amazing. And they think a turn signal, because they turn it on, it automatically gives them the right to pull over right in front of you and take away any safety space that you have. So it's just a mindset of driving in California. And because of congestion, I-5, once you get past the 110, I think, it turns into 3 lanes until you get past downtown. And if you want to stay on I-5, continuing south towards Disneyland, Santa Ana, San Diego, I-5 actually drops down to 2 lanes. It's amazing with the amount of money that the state of California collects off of gas taxes that these roads are in such terrible condition, and they've not done anything about traffic. They haven't enacted the right to come in and just build and make bigger, better roads, and everyone that lives down here pays that price. So here comes the San Bernardino Freeway, the 10. We're down to 3 lanes that actually head south. Coming up on the left is the big hospital for LA County Hospital. Just off to the right is downtown. Gained a couple lanes for the traffic getting off to the right, so we went from 3 to 4, when it should be like 3 to 6 to handle the traffic getting off. But there's only 2 lanes exiting the San Bernardino on the 10. had the pleasure of staying in one of the tallest hotels in downtown LA. That was really cool. They got a bar at the very top. Looks around, and we were there for the New Year's. And 2020, it looked like a war going on with all the fireworks that were being shot into the sky in California, all of which are illegal in California. Nothing can get off the ground because of the extreme fire danger. So they've restricted that year after year after year, and yet it seems to get worse and worse and worse. It seems to have more illegal fireworks. But from a hotel room, 80 stories in the air, it was kind of cool to watch. So now we're down to 3 lanes that are going south. There's a couple more lanes that are coming off here to the right that are going to go on to another freeway. And the farthest lane to the left is actually the freeway that puts you on the 60, which is the Pomona Freeway to the east. And here, all of I-5 drops down to 2 lanes. Construction for such would be incredibly difficult for the system down here, but there's got to be a way to get this figured out. The Walmart truck up in front of me was going to move over into what will be the fast lane in a couple minutes, and then figured out that he didn't have to because he's got a better view than us because he sits up a little bit higher than me. But this can get really hairy right here because people are moving over trying to get to the 60 from the far right hand side, and they'll just swing across and cut you off. And then you've got people that are trying to get back on to the 5 from the 60 side, and they'll cut you off. So just got to be aware, slow down. Once again, take your time. And this road is rough and rough and rough. And for those of us with bumper toes, it's the land of buck and chuck. And yet diesel in the state of California has $1 worth of taxes on it that should be paying for all these roads to be paved in gold. Where's all that money going? Definitely ain't going to the roads. Alright, so now we've got a lane that comes in and joins, but it doesn't add a lane. So here's a tight merge in a corner, and when you think you've had enough, there's another one that comes right in along with it. Short merges in California, especially in Southern California, is actually a thing. They're everywhere. Another reason why the traffic comes so screeching low, because somebody's trying to get in. And then to make matters even worse, if you look up here on the right hand side, the lane I'm currently in ends, as 2 more lanes come in from my left, and then we're going to get another lane, and then we hit Orange County, and the congestion just magically disappears because they did some additional planning and thinking when they started building the freeways in Southern California. I think Walt Disney had a lot to do with that. I think his insight and process helped to figure that out. Oh look, a Kia Soul has no soul for the light on the left hand side. Some of the bridge abutments that are on the road are super close, so if you hang over just a little bit, you might scrape. Also, you got to watch the K-rails down here. There's not a lot of room between them. If you're over in the fast lane and you're towing, where you shouldn't be in California because it's illegal, but there's not a lot of room between the K-rail and the fast lane. So a momentary second of oops, and you're going to grind or scrape something on the side of the road. I am just rambling on. It's going to be fun to edit this video so it doesn't seem quite so long. Southern California gas stations aren't exactly huge down here, especially from Fraser Park on down into Orange County. So if you're towing, or you're a large rig, or where you have a high clearance, be very aware of the fact that you might not fit into the gas stations with the cheapest gas. That's truly a thing down here. So just be prepared. Try to plan accordingly. Getting gas in LA in big rigs, unless you're spending time here, is not a fun thing. Almost got stuck on the 17. And passing the all-famous El Monte RV Rentals and Sales Office. There's a couple of them in Southern California, but if you're on vacation and you're traveling around the country, you'll be amazed at how many El Monte RV Class C's, Class A's. I don't know if they do towables or not, but they definitely have a huge rental business, especially in Yellowstone and Glacier National Park, down all the way into Yuma, Arizona, Grand Canyon stuff. So, interesting though. Headed up the hill on 94. I think that's what we're on currently. And headed to the Pio Pico 1,000 Trails for a couple of days. We're on Campo Road, California 94. Not too bad. Unfortunately, the road's getting here on the 125 and the 8. Pretty miserable. High-use freeways. Even the sheriff cut me off. So, just tells you what the mindset is driving in Southern California, coming up to the Pio Pico 1,000 Trails. And we're coming into the little town, I guess, of Hamul. Remember, the J is an H up here. Diesel's $4.69 a gallon. Woohoo! Yeah. Not. Just remember, I didn't vote for him. Prices in California have gone up at least $1 a gallon, if not more. Down here in Southern California, I bet it's gone up $1.25 to $1.50 a gallon. Yeah, thanks a lot. Just past the Hamul Casino, and we're headed another 3 miles or so until we get to Otay Lakes. Every time I see the word dip, it makes me think of ice cream and chocolate. I want my ice cream cone dipped in chocolate. Yum! Back in the day, it was Foster's Freeze, and you could get it double dipped. Okay, we're coming up to the turn for Otay Lakes Road. Apparently 94 East just past us gets to be a little interesting, because a half mile ahead they go down to under 40 feet. That should tell you something. There's got to be a better way to get here.
Turn right onto Otay Lakes Road.
And my British girl from Waze is telling me to turn right here. Here we go.
In 2.3 miles, turn left.
Apparently she's the lady with the plan.